Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news.
Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands fires back at PLP Chairman Bradley Roberts.
The BPL disconnection exercise continues. Find out just how many people are without power.
An overnight break-in for a public primary school.
Our news is brought to you by Alive, the nation's newest and best LTE network.
Good to be alive.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Voinik Tood. Topping news tonight, Minister of Health Dr. Dwayne Sands is slamming PLP Chairman Bradley Roberts, who has insisted Sands violated the Cabinet Minister's Code of Ethics by still performing surgeries in Grand Bahama. The Health Minister responded today saying Roberts is only trying to create mischief and gain cheap political points. He spoke with our Jasmine Brown.
Sands accused the PLP chairman of trying to stir up trouble where there isn't any, as he insisted he's only trying to save lives, not cause conflict.
It amazes me that he will stoop to whatever level in order to gain some political brownie points. And I just hope that he crawls under the rock that he normally resides under, and that we will see the backs of him politically pretty soon.
Sands, who is one of 3 vascular specialists in the country, was responding to Roberts, who claimed that the health minister has performed several surgical procedures at Princess Margaret Hospital since his appointment as a cabinet minister. However, Sands says he has only performed about 30 free surgeries at the Rand Memorial Hospital since May.
Even when myself, Paul Ramphal, and Delton Farquharson were sharing the load, it was a burden. When I left the scene in May, the load for Dr. Farquharson and Dr. Ramphal became unmanageable, to the point where those 2 gentlemen in particular have been working overtime. Now, there are other surgeons who may be able to do the occasional vascular procedure, but certainly there are no other vascular specialists in country.
According to the Manual of Cabinet and Ministry Procedure, a minister must avoid situations in which his private interest, whether pecuniary or otherwise, conflicts or might reasonably be thought to conflict with his public duties. Roberts insisted that under this established code of ethics, cabinet ministers would be required to discontinue all private work on assumption of office. He further charged that Dr. Sands' behavior is a clear breach of public trust and is not representative of good governance, humility, personal sacrifice, responsibility, honesty, or ethical conduct.
It's interesting that Mr. Roberts and others would choose to make mischief. This is an issue where Mr. Roberts and the PLP are looking to regain some sense of relevancy. They clearly have very little political capital right now, and so it's a matter of grasping at straws. I think Mr. Roberts, in his efforts, once again demonstrates just out of touch he is with the needs of the people in this country, and particularly the people in Grand Bahama who are having a very, very hard time.
Sands resigned a week before the May 10th general election. However, he says on September 14th, a public hospitals authority official wrote him, stating there were no objections to him maintaining unpaid admitting privileges to assist patients in need of cardiovascular care. Sands says he also got approval from the Prime Minister and Cabinet. The health minister says at the end of the day, politicians should not play with people's lives.
Until we can get a replacement, I'm going to continue to volunteer.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Bahamas Power and Light has disconnected the power supply of 3,000 delinquent customers. The disconnection exercise comes weeks after the power company confirmed it was scrapping a special list that protected certain public officials from having their lights cut off despite non-payment. Jared Hicks reports.
We do have in the millions owed to the corporation by a few thousands customers.
Approximately 3,000 customers are without electricity as Bahamas Power and Light continues its disconnection exercise. Last month, it was revealed that some politicians benefited from a do not disconnect list. It was further revealed that some BPL employees also enjoyed the secret incentive. Chairman of Bahamas Power and Light, Darnell Osborne, says those days are long gone.
Email went out to all employees last week. It's just in keeping with fairness and transparency. We have, as you are aware, it's been in the media for a while that we've sent out notices to all politicians, and you've heard a lot about the no disconnect list. So this is just in keeping in a spirit of fairness to all and to the Bahamian people. We have policies surrounding disconnections for the general public in terms of balances that are owed to the corporation, and so we are holding the employees and all the managers, the employees, the board directors, the ministers, everybody to the same policy.
With the company struggling with power generation, especially in New Providence, the chairman says those millions of dollars in arrears could go a very long way.
Because for every few dollars saved or millions saved, we're able to do more in terms of maintenance of the equipment, purchasing new equipment, doing the things that BPL hasn't been able to do for many years.
The BPL chairman also commented on the state of the company's RFP, saying that several of the requests have yet to be released.
We have instructed the management to compile the RFPs and to issue those. My understanding this morning, as an update, only 2 of those went out last week, and that's as it relates to generation, short-term and long-term, and also I think security services for the corporation. I have put a request through and asked for an explanation as to why the other services have not, the RFPs have not gone out, and those would be the landscaping, the brokerage, the cleaning, janitorial. There's several other RFPs that are going out. And I'd like to know why. So we're just waiting for management to report back to us as to why they weren't issued last week.
Osborne was tight-lipped about reports that the corporation would be appointing a new chief operating officer. However, she did confirm that a major announcement would be made soon concerning the future of the utility company. According to several reports, Georgia-based Bahamian engineer Christina Alston will be presented as the company COO at a press conference tomorrow. Reporting for our news, I'm Jared Higgs.
And from the courts, there was an acquittal in the Bamsey fire case. A jury rejected the evidence of an anonymous witness who claimed he saw 53-year-old Dave Moxie torch the male dormitory of the Bahamas Agricultural and Marine Science Institute in 2015. The jury deliberated for less than 30 minutes before acquitting Moxie of arson in relation to the January 15th fire that caused millions of dollars in damage. Prosecutors contended that Moxie was angry because he, like most of the other contracted workers on the project, had not been paid. However, Moxie contended that former MP Whitney Bastian, who hired him to make repairs to a roof that had partially collapsed, had paid him in full. Bastian testified on Moxie's behalf, confirming that he was owed no money. Moxie also had an alibi and produced handwritten time-stamped receipts, placing him at Adderley's liquor store at the time the building went up in flames. Calvin Seymour represented Moxie, and Darrell Taylor appeared for the Crown. And in other news, the country's murder count climbed overnight after a man was gunned down just feet away from a church in the Baintown community. According to police, the incident occurred just after 11:30 last night. Officer in charge of the Central Detective Unit, Chief Superintendent Solomon Cash, says when police responded to the scene on West Street, they found the victim's bullet-riddled body outside a home that is just adjacent to the Church of God of Prophecy on Meadow Street.
MS personnel were called who examined the body, and they pronounced the individual deceased on the scene.
More than a dozen officers patrolled the scene last night as the victim's body was carried away. Distraught family members rushed towards the scene and had to be held back by police. This latest homicide pushes the country's count to 112 for the year. Cash says officers are following very few leads in the case and are appealing to anyone with information to contact them.
Dial the police emergency at 919 or the major incident room at the Central Detective Unit at 502-9971 or 502-9969.
Thieves hit Claridge Primary School overnight, getting away with a number of expensive items stolen from classrooms. The Minister of Education says this latest break-in has prompted a review of school security in the public education system. April Sands tells us more.
It's a number of laptops, school supplies, and even microwaves. A complete ransack of 12 different classrooms here at Claridge Primary School. Police say criminals broke into the primary school around midnight, ransacking classrooms and stealing a number of valuable items. While Lloyd could not put an exact cost on the damage and stolen items, he believes the thieves stole them to resell them.
Some unknown assailants who broke into the tuck shop, took all of the supplies, broke into several classrooms in one of the blocks and removed items of value, including laptops, computers, microwaves, and so on. And the police is doing its investigation at the time to determine the extent of the loss as well as the potential victim, the perpetrators.
The education minister says there also seems to be confusion surrounding the time of the break-in with on-duty security guards.
It is my understanding that there might have been some compromise in that coverage during the hours in question.
Last month, police reported a robbery at Temple Christian High School off Shirley Street, where a security guard was at his post near the entrance of the school when he was tied up and robbed of money and his Nissan Note.
The security protocols at all of our campuses have been and now will continue to be under very intense review because, there is naturally some compromise in the integrity of our security protocols for this to have happened. It seems to be repeating itself during certain times of the day or night.
Lloyd says the principal and other faculty were disturbed by this incident, but the school is trying to carry on its regular Monday schedule despite not having the use of 12 classrooms. This as he revealed that school security will be beefed up. He said the issue lies in the community.
It's a reflection of the state of our society, that these campuses that should be places of sanctuary and safety are, in fact, places that are targeted by marauders and miscreants who obviously hell-bent on continuing to create chaos and assault the peace of our beloved society.
Reporting for our news, I'm April Sands.
Still to come on our news, officials at a school in Fox Hill discuss solutions to crime in that community, so stay tuned.